Oh yeah, by the way, guys, you can pause this if you need to read it.
Iguanas are not built for the cold. They'll fall out of trees. They'll end up in areas where cars are, parking lots. You'll see them in a lot of areas where they're cold stunned. If it's just for a day or two, they will just get to where they're completely frozen in time. They're still able to breathe. They're still able to do bodily functions, just very slow. Once it gets, again, above 50 degrees, they'll start to activate and move around. Put them over to the side if you feel comfortable to put them in the sun, or put them off the road so you're not running them over.
Whenever I see blackface on television here in Japan, I feel this feeling of not being respected and not being, as my color being used as a joke or a punchline. I don't necessarily think that it's racist. I just think that it's very problematic, it's very demeaning, it's very disrespectful to the feelings of the people who are impacted. Their daily lives are impacted by the antics of Japanese comedians or Japanese musicians performing in blackface. And generally how we're presented here is stereotype driven, and it's very otherizing, and it causes problems for us in our daily lives here. The problem is that now Japan is no longer an isolated country. It's on the world stage, and people are watching this programming in real time. If they see this blackface, they're going to have a misperception about Japan. I mean, most people look at blackface and immediately say this is racist. And I don't think it's necessarily racist, but that's how the world is going to perceive Japan as a racist country, or a very ignorant country, if they continue to do this blackface programming.
I went to the best colleges for college. I had a situation where I was a very excellent student, came out, made billions and billions of dollars, became one of the top business people, went to television, and for 10 years was a tremendous success, as you probably have heard. Ran for president one time and won. And then I hear this guy that doesn't know me at all. By the way, did not interview me he said he interviewed me for 3 hours in the White House. It didn't exist, okay? It's in his imagination. And what I was heartened by, because I talk about fake news and the fake news media, was the fact that so many of the people that I talk about in terms of fake news actually came to the defense of this great administration, and even myself, because they know the author and they know he's a fraud. And when I saw some of the people say, and you look at some of his past books, he did a book on Rupert Murdoch. It was a terrible expose, and it was false. So much of it was false. I consider it a work of fiction, and I think it's a disgrace that somebody's able to do something like that. The libel laws are very weak in this country. If they were strong, it would be very helpful. You wouldn't have things like that happen where you can say whatever comes to your head. But just so you know, I never interviewed with him in the White House at all. He was never in the Oval Office. We didn't have an interview. I did a quick interview with him a long time ago having to do with an article. But I don't know this man. I guess Sloppy Steve brought him into the White House quite a bit, and it was one of those things. That's why Sloppy Steve is now looking for a job.